In creating the world of Blood Psalms, we needed to amalgamate different physical locations to make one space. In order to do so, you need to augment a world. So in the augmentation of that reality, it means that you're taking specific aspects from different locations and spaces and putting them together to make your world. And then, obviously, based on the story, in the story we have these different houses or tribes that live in different worlds. So that requirement meant that we needed to scan the landscape in terms of finding the right kind of locations. A huge portion of our story is with the Qini people, and the Qini live underground in a vast network of caves, you know, that alludes to them and their heritage being ancient. So where would we find such, you know? And that would be in Gauteng, you know? If you look at the Stakfontein caves, that is the spot, you know? And the Uchawi, for instance, they are druids and stargazers. So the place that we found was in the Eastern Cape, a place called Guadana, which has this kind of mysticism around it anyways. If you speak to any Khoza people and you mention Guadana, they are, they're like all spooked up.
If you're going to use such spaces like we did in Blood Psalms, like Guadana, like the caves, these are spaces that had life before. So at times you have to knock before you enter into such spaces because the spirits are still there. So we had to patha in a lot of spaces. We had to do that also in rivers that we use, also because we had some actors who are sangomas, so there's certain protocols that had to be gone through in order for us to have a good day of shoot.
Yeah, all locations were essentially challenging, but it's all within the spirit of that quest, you know, of wanting to do the best work that you can. And it's always a miracle to find a piece like Blood Psalms where collectively we all have that same ethos. We're all willing to go through a grueling journey to make it happen.
When I think Blood Psalms and our heritage, I think that it is a great representation of our heritage. These are the types of stories that I grew up, you know, reading and watching and being interested in, except now they're coming from people who look and sound like me, which is a beautiful thing, which is a first, which is something I personally have never seen and am quite honored to be a part of.
The languages that we used in the series were Khoza, isiZulu, Setswana, Sesotho, Sepedi, Swahili, and Xitsonga.
I am part of the Amaqini and the cave dwellers, and we speak, you know, primarily is Khoza. But my character in particular speaks an interesting combination of his Khoza and his Zulu. So I grew up speaking his Zulu, being from KwaZulu-Natal. But my heritage, my mom is Xhosa, so there was definitely a part of me that could access that. But I definitely did look to my fellow cast members for some guidance there, and there were some things that I wasn't sure about. I definitely looked to them for help, and they were so great. They helped me just shape what would then be the way Buruti communicates.
Was it an easy choice avoiding English? No. I think a lot of actors were also like very, very challenged because they had to drop a lot of isms and the things that they do. A lot of people talk with so they had to drop certain things. They had to drop certain words that they usually use in their patterns of speaking. Some actors have never done work where they just spoke their language. For the entire shoot. So it was interesting to see that.
This journey is, for me, a great start because obviously we have a lot further to go in exploring untapped territories in terms of storytelling, but doing it in the vernacular, doing it in, you know, African indigenous languages is something I feel like we have we have to explore even further, you know? So yeah, I'm very honored to be a part of it and to finally see all this magic and all this fantasy in the language of my people.
The first thing Jahmil and I discussed was the layout and the look of the 5 kingdoms that we work with within the store.
You have the different cultures and we have to be able to recognize that, where you came from. So if you see that location, you see that character, you must know immediately he's Chini, he's Akachi, he's Kua. So it's important to recognize that in design.
So we have the Akachi kingdom, that in the old Egyptian times, they were mostly shaven because of plagues and lice in it. So they're the clean-cut kingdom.
For the Akachi kingdom, we drew on the 15th, 16th century Benin bronzes, which are all in the London museums. All our fabrics are completely natural that you would have found around about that period. The nature of these costumes were not, let's quickly throw it under a sewing machine and sew it together. These are handcrafted pieces. That was our bigger challenge, was to source the correct craftsman.
The Chini was very interesting for me because it was cave dwellers. They have a lot of mud in their caves, a lot of dust, so that would reflect in the hair. We had a lot of dreadlocks, a lot of stone and bone, a lot of lenses, especially for the older people, so they look like they haven't seen the sun in quite a while.
The Chini kingdom is the kingdom which is really interesting because it's the cast outs of all the other kingdoms. And the big thing there, of course, is that they're shapeshifters as well. So it was a group of people that were just the cast out thrown together. Within that particular kingdom, we wanted to show what is their history, where do they come from. So you will see the costumes are remnants of Chawi, Kua, all the other kingdoms all thrown together there.
Where the tribes lived had a big influence. For instance, the Kua, a lot of scarification in their tribe. With each milestone you'll have this type of recognition you get on your body.
The Kua tribe is very organic. So it's colorful, war paint, shaved in hair, tattoos. So that was a quite intricate tribe to look at.
The Kua kingdom is pretty much a leather and skin kingdom. Our Chawi kingdom is probably what I call our ethereal kingdom. It is a kingdom of, shall I call them, queens, wizards and witches.
I think we just tried to push the boundaries as much as possible, which was amazing.